for a reason. My screen. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Honestly, I am part of the AUB Innovation Park, which is the organization that is organizing this Tech for Accessibility hackathon. And I'm very honored and privileged to be delivering the pitching workshop happening today. So just to be able to give you a context of what, to give you a taste of what pitching is, it's just like you have something in your possession and you'd like to give that something for money in return. You're selling your business to someone for something in return. And that return could be a connection, could be an investment, it could be in a competition for a money or a pool prize. So it's that. And before I start pitching about pitching, I'm gonna pitch about myself and tell you a little bit about my background. And currently I'm the Community Growth and Outreach Officer at the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park. The AUAI Park is the accelerator of the university, which means we help startups turn their ideas into profitable and scalable businesses. And I personally manage the investor network, the mentors network, the corporate partners network, our ecosystem and generally speaking, to make sure that our startups have a comprehensive journey from A to Z. I come from a legal background, bachelor's in law, 1 year of master's in law, but I turned and pivoted just like businesses pivot, so it means change from A to B. I changed from legal, worked in sales as a growth consultant for companies in Singapore, in Lebanon, and in France. And I headed the sales for my own company from 2019 till 2021, where we generated more than $100,000 in sales in the FMCG industry. So basically, this is a general overview about me. So my whole experience was about dealing with people, selling ideas to people, selling products and services to people. And I would like to share what I have acquired of knowledge to you about how you could sell your business. So in today's agenda, we're going to be covering several topics, which firstly, I'm going to introduce what pitching is. I'm going to give also some advices related to that, how you could sell your pitch effectively, especially when you're targeting experienced jury members in competition. A pitch deck is the PowerPoint presentation for your pitch, for your business. So I'm going to go through the different slides that you need to have in this pitch. And after you do a presentation during the competition, you'll have a section where you'll be asked several questions. I'm going to also give you some tips and tricks how to maneuver throughout that section, with some advices to keep in mind. If you stress, if you make a mistake, I'm going to also pinpoint that. And if time allows it, by the end of the session, maybe we could do an interactive exercise where you could pitch something very brief to me if someone's interested, and I'm going to give you some feedback on that too. So basically, this is what we'll be doing today. We'll try as much as possible to cover that in an hour because I think efficient workshops are very brief, straight to the point, and you can keep the learning outcomes with you and apply them directly without going back to any slide. So let's start. Before we start, anybody has a question? Anybody wants to do a comment before we start in the workshop? Silence to me usually is yes, but I'll give 5 seconds before starting. So I'm assuming no questions means I should proceed. So what is pitching? By definition, as I said, it's very related to storytelling because you're telling the story, and this is no story other than your own business. This idea that you want to turn into reality or that you've already established and you're trying to grow. So you're telling the story of your business in simple terms and a very short period of time. You know, when you start your own business, you tend to get lost in a lot of details and a lot of numbers, a lot of features for your product or service. So basically, you have a short period of time to say a story about your business. So 4 components. First of all, story. We're going to go through today in several storytelling techniques, how you can get someone's attention and move forward. Second component is business. You need to tell the story of your business, which means you need to have a solid of understanding of how your business and market function. Three, use simple terms. And why is it important to use simple terms is I like to use this metaphor of the wise versus the fool. It's the wise should approve of what you're saying, but the fool or the less experienced should understand what you're saying. So the choice of words in a pitch should be very meticulous, should be very understanding, and you should be mindful with the words you're saying. And last but not least, we're talking about the time. You should be able, depending on the type of pitch that you're delivering, be mindful of the time that you're taking for that. And usually, how to approach a pitch and how to pitch your idea. My advice for entrepreneurs is usually write everything you know about your own business on a piece of paper, using the structure that I'm going to provide later. And then ask yourself, should this make my slide? Should this be on the slide? Is it important for me to say in 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 minutes? So this is about pitching. And usually pitching has several objectives, and mainly 4. First, we are informing someone about our own business. For example, I am the founder of Netflix. Figuratively, not literally for sure, but I'm letting someone know what services I am offering are. Second, I want to establish a partnership or to grow my network of clients. So what I do is I sell them my business so they are convinced to partner with me or to buy my product or service. Third is investment, and this is the most common type of pitching. Usually you pitch for investors to raise funds for your company. And without money at the end of the day, you will not be able to grow and sustain. And other objectives for pitching are many. One of them is pitching in a competition for a prize pool of money, which we will be tackling more today. So those are the 4 main objectives of pitching. And we have different types of pitches. We're still in the definition of pitching. It is a storytelling, and we have several ways to tell that story. It's either in an elevator, not literally again. What is an elevator pitch? Elevator, it means you have 30 seconds to convince an investor or to convince a client that your business is worthy to look at. And this, the structure of an elevator pitch is different than a structure of an investment pitch, because in an investment pitch, you are in a room, and in this room, you have, sorry, I think there are several people who are in the waiting room. I'm just going to admit them. Just a moment. Okay. So basically what's happening is that you are in a room with investors, and what you're doing is that you're trying to convince them that your business is worth the money that they're going to put in. Because with investment comes a high risk. And this high risk, you will need to be able to convey trust in their use of their own funds. So this is the investment pitch, which comes with more details, with more time, and with more elaborate discussions. Typically, in an elevator pitch, I would talk to someone for 30 seconds, and the outcome would be, let's do a meeting together. Mainly, elevator pitches lead to investment pitches. And for the third type of pitches, which is close to the investment pitch, but comes with less details, is the competition pitch. You should be mindful in a competition pitch that you have 3 to 5 minutes. It's less time for an investment pitch, with less details on your pitch deck, and the target audience are the jury members who are expert in what you're talking to them. And at the same time, you have a community of people who do not technically understand what you're speaking, but who are interested in what they are listening to. And this is where the metaphor of the fool versus the wise, the wise versus the fool comes to life. So basically, this is pitching in general. Our focus is for this hackathon for the competition pitch. Some advices related to pitching that I have acquired through my experience is that you should be very aware of the details of your business. And this is Jeff Bezos saying it, not me personally. Else you're going to fail. Why? Because as an entrepreneur, Pitching is just selling the product. The product itself is your own business, and you need to be knowledgeable of all the details, because in case you were able to ace the pitch and in the Q&A, which is a very hot topic of the pitch, you will have difficulties when it comes to answering the questions, and then you will lose your winning chances in the competition. So this is basically some advices that I've acquired. There are three categories. The first one is your business. You should understand your business. What does that mean? Understanding the business is understanding the market and the industry. The market is, where am I running my business? For example, my own company was an FMCG. I used to work, this is the industry, the fast-moving consumable goods. We used to manufacture soap, and we used to export the soap in several countries. So I am an FMCG, and my market is the countries I am exporting to. I produce in Lebanon, which is also a market to me, but I export in Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, and Jordan. I mentioned Jordan. So basically, we had 4 markets, and industry is FMCG. As for the product and services, you should also be aware of the product or service you're delivering and who you are delivering it to. For example, for us, our clients were businesses. We used to manufacture in bulk and sell in bulk, whereas the businesses that buy from us, they are the ones who sell to supermarkets, and the supermarket sells to the customer. You should be aware of this value chain from your own manufacturing to the household. In my case, in business, but it can be literally anything. For example, for the hackathon, it could be an application that you are developing that helps people navigate across campus accessibly. And the clients would be the AUB students or AUB faculty or staff. Not just the market and the industry, not just the products and the clients, but the funnels and the growth models. The funnels is, how can I reach those clients? In my case, it was selling as a business to another business. I used to do direct sales, contacted them, show the product, and if they like it, I would make a deal. However, for digital and for technology, it might be different. It could be through e-commerce platforms. It could be through direct sales. It could be also, if it's on AUB campus, for example, through AUB marketing touchpoints. For example, AUB digital screens, AUB emails, reach out to key people at AUB to send out to them about the solution that you're trying to develop, so on and so on. So basically, this is a good understanding of your business. Second, the graphics. I wrote a paragraph here just to show you, and I'm going to read the paragraph out loud. To have a good pitch, you will need to use graphics as much as possible. You need to use simple design, a unified color code for your pitch deck. Don't use several colors, okay? Just use one color code across the pitch deck. And in this case, it's the AUB branding. If you've noticed, the slides prior, we're talking about AUB branding. So here I'm using the AUB color code. Visuals are important, and you can access template online. However, templates online don't have unified codes, so you'll need to redefine the code once you use the templates that are free and accessible online. You could also hire graphic designers, or if you're lucky, you could have experts in data visualization or graphic designers in your team, which could help you design a better pitch deck. So this is exactly how a slide shouldn't look like. The content is right, but this is not how a slide should look like. A slide should look like this: very minimal text, very beautiful colors, very appealing to the eye. I am able to clearly read what's there, with a focus on 1 billion missed work days per year, which creates this effect of a huge impact just using a way to visualize slide. So not like this, rather like this. Okay. Now, advice is related to pitching and communication. We said about business, we said about graphics, now about the communication. Public speaking is a very crucial component when it comes to you standing on stage. I always advise you to stand still. open your shoulders, have your legs on the ground firm, and speak with confidence, with energy. And as much as you say that I'm not comfortable with providing more energy to the stage, add 50% more out of your comfort zone, because trust me, it goes through. You should be confident in conveying integrity, realism, confidence, and trust. Once jury members see that in you, they will like you more, and the chances are that you will have more increased chances in winning. But the most important thing about communication, and this is to me, this is not advised by lots of pitching coaches. However, be honest and transparent. This is my take on that. Why? Because nobody likes Mr. Know-it-all, the one who answers every question, thinking that they got the answer, just pulling it out of the rabbit hat. So if you don't know something, just say, this is something that we're tapping into and we're exploring. However, it's not currently in our pipeline of objectives. Okay? Convey confidence, but be a realist and be honest and truthful to your own business and to your own roadmap. Basically, this is some advices. Now, let's dig into the real deal. You have to design a pitch deck for the competition. What is a pitch deck? We said, what's a pitch? It's the ability to tell a story for your business in a short period of time. You have some advices that I gave you in communication, in business, and in graphic that you could be you could be using. Now, as for the pitch deck itself, we are talking about several slides, 9 at least, that you should have in your presentation. And the more aesthetically pleasing those slides are, the more you can get the attention of the viewer. Now, what those slides are the following. They're the following. First, the hook. Then there's the problem. I'm going to go deep down into each and everyone. The solution or the value proposition. The market and industry, the competition, the growth plan and traction, business model, team, ask, and some appendices at the end. And be mindful that we're not talking about blocks here. We're talking about a sequence of ideas that are flowing. By that, I mean that you start with the hook, like you're hooking the audience in. You can get my attention in the first 5 seconds, or you can lose me in the first 5 seconds. Your hook is important. Then, once I'm attached, you tell me the problem that the business is trying to solve. And then you tell me what the solution is. For example, I don't know, 5 billion people in the world are facing obesity. This is the hook. The problem is about obesity. You delve deeper into that. In fact, diets are a huge issue in the world that people are not able to face. This is why the solution, we're offering this digital platform that helps you count the calories that you eat and help you lose weight. The market and the industry. I'm talking here about we decided to tap, the market is global, but we decided to focus in this industry on several countries as a start in the GCC, for example. Our competitors we are facing competition indeed, but we have a plan that will allow us to grow and outcompete others. We have a competitive advantage, and this plan will help me generate money using the business model. Business model, in other words, is how am I making the money? And we have the right team to execute. This is why we are asking for $50,000 to execute this plan in the following year. And you can add some appendices at the end to justify your reasoning throughout the presentation. But you don't include the appendices in your speech while speaking. So after, in the Q&A, you can refer to the appendices. Those are the different slides. Let's dig in each one. First, Mr. Hook, the Captain Hook thing. You can start by telling, and captivating the audience, as I said, is super important. You can start by sharing a story. It can be real, it can be fake, but I personally, preferably, it should be real, because this story is what inspired you to make your own business. For example, let's go back to the idea of I don't know of doing the business in on the AUB application campus. Mark is an AUB student with visual impairments. Without the ability, without contacting the security at AUB, he is unable to reach from lower campus to upper campus. Mark is facing severe problems on campus to move. You can start by that. You're triggering sad emotions and you're triggering empathy in the audience. You just got that. You can start by a thought-provoking question. Did you know that AUB campus lacks a lot of accessibility? And which means that people who are visually impaired or are blind cannot access several campuses, several departments. You can start by a quote, which I don't preferably like, but what I really like is actually the solution statement. You say, hello, hey, we're here to solve a problem on campus. And here's the problem. You start by saying that very clearly, very brutally. And this is my personal favorite. You can use props also, but my three favorite are story, thought-provoking questions, and solution statements, which I advise you to use one of those to hook the audience. Hooking is very important because the attention of people is very goldfishy, because people tend to just go with wherever their ideas take them. So if you do not get their attention at the beginning, you will lose them at the end. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip through this slide. The second point we said about the hook. Now for the problem. When you're talking about the problem, you should answer these questions. What is the problem that you're solving? Why is it an important problem? And who is the one feeling the pain? This is important that your slide should include those. You should transmit emotions and draw from personal experience and story. And again, use simple terms, don't complicate, don't use complicated numbers in the problem. You could say, for example, back to this slide that we covered previously, 1 billion missed work days per year due to turnover and absenteeism, which means that we have a lot of workforce that is being unproductive during this period of time, which means unproductivity leads to lack of revenue, lack of profits, and so on and so forth. This way, you can captivate the audience in a very simple manner. I didn't use any complicated numbers here. I just transmitted the emotions of, whoa, this is a huge 1 billion, using only one number. Thirdly, we said about the, we covered the two first points, the hook, the problem, and now you should answer the solution. Introducing blah, 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 introducing, I don't know, this application that will help me navigate through campus. And this is where you state the name of your company. Introducing, I don't know, introducing Access AUB, the first one of a kind application that will help you navigate on campus. You should answer these questions in your slide. How does your solution solve the problem? What's the product or service, and what makes you unique? So for the first point, how does your solution solve the problem? You're doing an application. How does your solution, an application with GPS or with connected to hardware Bluetooth on campus that will help you navigate campus? The product or service is an application connected to a hardware through IoT, Internet of Things. And what makes you unique is that it's the first time this is happening at the university level in Lebanon. You should focus also about the features of the product that makes you unique and the benefits on the features here. So I wrote two things below, do and don't. Do show images, don't get too technical. Focus on benefits, but don't focus on features. What I mean by here, don't focus on features, not don't focus on the features of the apps, but don't get too technical about the features, okay? Just say that this application will help people who cannot see navigate campus easily. For example, a complete AI-powered recruiting solution. I said there is AI that can help you better, hire better and faster, more accurately. I'm focusing on the benefit, helping you hire better and faster, but I'm not focusing on I just saw a question in the chat. I'm not focusing on I'm not focusing about the AI features. I'm just saying there's AI that helps me be faster and reliable. Sorry for interrupting. Which slide contains the target audience of my business? Can you please clarify, Karim? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Let's have a discussion. Karim is in the chat. Karim. Okay, I'm just going to continue on. If you'd like to type in the message, please feel free to do so later. Basically, now for the next slide that you should include in your pitch is the market and industry, or what we call the opportunity. When an investor looks at your business, the first thing they look at is the market and the industry. Because if it has a huge amount of money involved in it, we're talking about a potential where you can grow faster, okay, and make more money faster. So this is why the return on investment would be higher. The market, the bigger it is, the better. So ask yourself, how big is your market? And of course, while addressing the questions related to what market I am in, ask what are the assumptions. For example, I'm saying that the total market of billboard ads is valued at, I don't know, $1 billion, for example, okay? This is my total addressable market, what I call my TAM, okay? Total addressable market in the whole world for my billboard ads product. The SAM is the serviceable available market, which is a portion of the market that I can acquire based on my model and target audiences, which means, for example, I am targeting billboard ads in the GCC region. What is this portion in the GCC? Okay, this is the SAM. And there's the serviceable obtainable market, the SOM, which is the percentage that I can realistically capture. Because out of the GCC countries, we have huge players for billboard ads that are having 70% of the market. I have potentially the remaining 30. 30 is a huge number. Usually a SOM, a serviceable obtainable market, is approximately 5% if it's too good, or 5 to 7%. So anywhere between 3 to 7% makes good sense. So if the billboards idea is we have 1 billion in the whole world, and I don't know, 200 million in the GCC, I can get 5% of that. Do the math. I don't have a calculator and I'm not focused to do the mental math at this point. So basically, show attractiveness in the market. The SAM should be $100 million plus, but also don't show wrong numbers because you're in front of experienced jury members. And if they saw that your numbers are not credible and they are not from reliable sources, you are automatically out of the game. So always be truthful to the first advice that I said. Be truthful about what you're saying. This is how you could potentially use the TAM SAM. There's this way to visualize it. This is how one way to do it, TAM SAM, just like those three circles. Another way to do it is this. So 6 billion per year in this market and maternity, 490 per year in this African, I don't know, and 144 that is my target market, my SOM. A third way where you could visualize is also using this map with the TAM SAM also. I'm just going to ask a question if everyone is being able to follow up with what I'm saying, or if you have any question, please also feel free to interrupt. Would happily answer your questions or queries. I'm going to consider that as everyone is understanding about pitching and that I'm energetic enough. I'm going to take it positively, guys. Usually, that's a funny story. One time, during my Master's of Business Administration, I had a professor of strategy who told me, who always used to stop and interrupt his class and say, any questions? And we had, particularly on several occasions, no questions at all. And on those occasions, he said, this is an indicator of one of two things. It's or you're completely disconnected, or I'm doing a great job. So I'm just going to assume that I'm doing a great job here. Now for the competition slides, you need to have a competition clear slide and ask yourself, who are my direct competitors? For example, for Netflix, we're talking about the platform for Amazon, Disney Plus, the direct competitors for Netflix. The indirect competitors, we're talking about regular TV channels. In one case that I've read online, I've actually saw someone who said an indirect competitor of Netflix is sleep, because in binge watching, you want people to be using and watching movies instead of being sleeping. So this is an interesting insight that I've read actually. And always focus, how are you different from them? You could do a comparative table, but don't get into irrelevant details. You could actually use such a similar format with the different competitors that you research online or through people that you know that they are in the market on the horizontal side. And on the vertical side, you can put the different features or perks that each that are offered, with you having the most green ticks. And this is where your competitive advantage is. For example, for Google, they show more relevant results. They are the largest ad inventory volume, and they own mobile operating systems, unlike Bing, unlike Buy, unlike Yahoo and Yandex. Message in the chat. Thank you, Rayan. Thank you for your message. Another way you could also visualize is put this sort of graph on the vertical and on the horizontal. You could put company metrics. For example, you could say for Netflix, easiest to use and hardest to use, and most expensive and cheapest. You would be able, in this case, to have the different metrics where you could position yourself. This is a competitive landscape to see where you are present, and based on where you are, you would say, I am different in this way. I am cheaper than others. I offer more services than others, so on and so forth. Now for the slides related to traction and growth plan. Always ask yourself, what are the key metrics? What did you achieve and what will you achieve? So this is very important for me to note that it's very easy to start considering your dreams or your dreams or what you're trying to achieve as the reality. And I like the confidence of entrepreneurs who do it. However, be very clear about what you are already doing, what you have achieved in the past, and what you have in the pipeline for the future. This will make you more credible in your pitch, and you will convey more confidence and more trust in the jury members. So do this reality versus projection contrast, but also don't exaggerate or confuse. But also, meanwhile, be very aware that you should always be confident in what you're saying. And growth is very important, just like those this picture, like it's a step-by-step process. This plant is growing progressively. Your roadmap should show the jury members and also the audience that you have a clear roadmap on how you're going to grow your business. In startups, you would say, month one, we're going to onboard 5 clients. Or let's take the example of the AUB app. So month one, we're going to start in testing and developing, working on the development. Month 2, we're going to test it. Month 3, we're going to work on a marketing strategy. And month 4, we're going to implement the marketing strategy on campus. Month 5, we're going to onboard as much people and create traction by that. And how you measure this traction? By the number of downloads of the app on campus. Month 6, you would continue, you would enter in another cycle and hiring more people to develop the features of the application. So there's a clear roadmap on how you're going to develop this product, and the app, you should be able to convey that to the jury members clearly. For example, here, this property marketplace I saw online, it has showed its key metrics very clearly in its pitch deck. We're talking about 8,000 listings, 5,000 daily sessions. We have 35,000 registered users, 1,000 registered agencies on this marketplace in real estate, and so on and so forth. They have 2017, they generated 250K in revenue. This, by the way, happened in 2018. And they are projecting in 2020 revenue of $5.3 million. So when I say they are projecting, they expect in 2020 to make $5.3 million. Back to the app, you would say, by year one, we expect to have 1,000 applications downloaded on campus. Why? You would justify it because, I don't know, you have 1,000 people on AUB that have accessibility issues. With this platform, you would be able 100% to convince, I don't know, 50% of this audience, which makes it 500. So you got my idea, which is you take a percentage of the target audience and you calculate how you're going to make them download the application. And what you could do to make money out of this app, that I'm continuing using the same example, is just to make the story clearer, is maybe it can be part of the tuition fee that are related to accessibility. I don't know. Or AUB could cover that as a central unit, as a central institution. Now for my favorite part. It's the business model. Anything you say or put, it's great, it's creative, it's feasible sometimes. The idea that you're having, it's technically feasible. But how can it sustain? Only one question, no other advice. You can complicate things, but the bottom line is, how can I make money? How do you make money? This is the question that that we ask. Your target audience should be AUB Rabia. So no, I was just giving an example about the application that would help navigate AUB campus accessibly. So in this case, how can you make money out of this application? I'm gonna talk about this right now. For example, you could charge the students on that. But not directly to the students. It should happen probably through a central unit at AUB. Okay, so this was my take on that. But it's just a suggestion at the end of the day. I'm trying to think out loud on ways how to make money. And I will not delve in the details of this because I believe my colleague Hani will have a workshop about the business model canvas. It's the different components that help you understand how you can be profitable in your business. And tomorrow is the workshop. I'm not sure what time, but I think Hani will be delivering this workshop in an important way. This slide shouldn't be included, the canvas, but the canvas is an exercise for you to think how I can make money. What you should have on the slide is very simple pricing strategies. For example, this app, I will charge on a basic for $99 per month. It will cover several perks. On a pro, if it is a pro version of the app, you will pay more, but you will get more. And if it's custom, etc. Those numbers are pure imagination. It's nothing related to about the app that I was giving an example of, but you could give different ways to do it. For example, I'm going to give another example. For the FMCG company, to me, it was simple. I used to sell to businesses. So my business model is B2B. If I'm selling to clients, my business model is B2C. Now, B2B, how am I selling to them? I am selling through direct channels. For example, I go knock on the door and tell them that I have this product, they would buy it. I could sell through digital marketing on my own website, for example. This is e-commerce. I could sell to potential distributors. I would manufacture and they would take the products and they would distribute on my behalf. Those are different structures to use in the business model. Hani will tackle everything in detail tomorrow. But you should have a slide of the business model, very simple, with details about how you can make money. Now, the slide that is very important to the people that are listening. Do you have what it takes to make it? So you answer the questions. Who are the core team members? Do you have what it takes? And what are your hiring plans in the future? Why is it important to have core team members? For example, I have 3 agricultural engineers in the team, and I'm saying I want to grow this business to become a unicorn. A unicorn is a company that reaches a valuation of $1 billion. Okay. If they do not have previous business experience, I highly doubt they could make it. Another example, I have 3 business people in the company, and I'm saying that without prior experience in coding, I am going to develop a software that helps me do that. If I don't have hiring plans to hiring a CTO or hiring a developer, this doesn't make sense to the person that's listening. So make sure that the team that you currently have or that you are trying to build has what it takes to achieve your objectives, whether business or technical. And on the team slide, focus on the human element. It's very important that people see faces, that see where their previous experiences are. Say stories about the team members that you have. Don't take too long on this slide, but always make sure that this slide is memorable. Because at the end of the day, when the jury members sit in the room, they're not gonna deeply delve in the business, but they're more likely, how do I know that? Because I'm a jury member on several in several competitions. They are going to remember the people behind. Of course, they're gonna delve in the business. I'm not saying that they won't, but the more important part, or I would say it's equally as important to remember the people behind it. And thus, don't just show logos and pictures, assuming that all the slide is, I covered the slide. It's a very important slide to have. And this is way you can have them. I can see the faces of the people, have good, clear pictures of who you guys are with what you do. For example, I see product design lead at Netflix. Automatically, it conveys confidence. I see co-founder of the Neuron. So he's basically an entrepreneur. If he has previous entrepreneurship ventures where he failed, this would, to me, convey confidence because he's doing it again. He knows he made mistakes. He's learning from them. He or she, of course. So basically, that's it. And my favorite is Blake here because he's also a redhead, and I'm personally a redhead, which means that he's a rare one of a kind. And that's a joke, guys. Okay. So basically, that's for the team. Okay. Now, the final slide that you should have as part of the pitch that you're saying is the ask. How much money do I need, or how much am I raising? I want $1 million for hiring new people, developing the product, and which means how will I spend the money? And how do I expect my growth after that? And this product development, this research, this growth of the team will help me generate more sales in the Saudi market, for example. Or it will help me penetrate the AUB campus as a market. Always be realistic. Don't overpromise and underachieve because investors don't like that. So this is an example of how a slide can be very simple. We are raising seed round of 500,000 for 10%. And we have the capital expenditure, which is product development, marketing and sales personnel, so on and so forth. This is how it's going to be distributed. Some appendices that you could have are financials, customer surveys, feedback data, other relevant documents, contracts that you sign with people without showing the name, because probably if you sign a contract, there'll be a non-disclosure clause. And in case you are not at the stage yet, at least have customer surveys and feedback saying that, yes, it could be quotes of people who use the app also, okay? Or quotes of people that said, yes, I need that app, okay? So those you could add to the appendix. Now we finished the pitch. Just I'm going to go back to one slide, which is at the beginning here. Just a moment, which is this slide. So your pitch, you hook the people. You mentioned the problem. You mentioned the solution and the opportunity that comes with it, the market and the industry, with the TAM Samsung. You mentioned that it's a competitive market, but you have a plan to overcome competition. You mentioned how you're going to do it through your business model while asking yourself, how am I going to make money? And you have the right team to do it. This is why you're asking this amount to use it in this. For just a note, and you have some appendix, just a note for the ask, since it's a competition, you could add one additional slide after the ask, which is this money in the competition. We are going to use this amount to, I don't know, fund our efforts in developing the application, for example. Okay. So just to move forward, now we are at the Q&A section after the pitch. This is where the real test happens. You know your business. You communicated and sold your idea properly. Now comes the moment of truth. Do you really know what your business is all about? And this is where the jury members test your ability to be flexible and agile on your feet. Some questions that they might ask you is, what makes your product or service unique? The value proposition, and they might delve deep into that. They could here ask you about the features and how you could code them and which languages you're going to use in coding. I'm not a coding person. However, if I had a startup, the first thing I would do is to have a developer on my team. If I'm building a software, if I want to build a hardware, which is a product that is physical, I would have an engineer who understands mechanical engineering typically. Or if it's a rocket, I don't know, maybe I'd hire Elon Musk, an aerospace engineer, I would say. The question that I really like is the third one. Why wasn't this product possible before? This is a very important question because let's be frank, a lot of people maybe tried your idea and many failed. You should know why they failed and why what you're doing now is different from what they've done before. I remember just now a quote from Einstein, and it means that it would be foolish that you expect different results while having the same set of assumptions. You should understand what those assumptions are and test the difference and get different results. The pricings that you mentioned in the business model, are they logical? Did you test your customers' sensitivity? Did you ask them how much are you willing to pay for that application, for example? What are the challenges that you're facing, whether business or technical? It is very important to be knowledgeable on the technical feasibility part, the risks that you're facing, the customer acquisition cost. Just so you know, the CAC, the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, is the metric that helps you measure how much you pay to acquire one customer. Okay. You should have basic understanding of financials, strategy, and why you are asking for the money, how you're going to spend that. So those are the typical question that comes across the mind of a jury member. Business with finance, technical feasibility, risks, and your product. Okay, basically that's it. Product and customers. Now for just one last thing, what to keep in mind, that you're pitching, you might not be that experienced. Keep in mind that we're people and you are pitching to people at the end of the day. Yes, they are more experienced. Yes, they know more, but they are people at the end of the day. You make mistakes, they make mistakes. So just feel comfortable, take a deep breath and move forward. Make sure that you have your homework done, be simple, focused. Your time is valuable and their time is valuable. So be as efficient as possible. And most importantly, while on stage, be in your element. Have fun. It's a fun time here. The hackathon is a fun competition for you to innovate and to unleash your creativity. So with that in mind, just keep that in mind and make sure that you are in your element. Do you have any questions that which I might want to answer to. Any questions, you can type in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and ask me any question. Okay, thanks, Lama and Muhammad. I hope this session was useful. I'm not sure we still have time for the, I think we have a couple of minutes. Maybe we could do this exercise. Who's interested here to do an elevator pitch? I'm going to teach you how to do an elevator pitch. And if you'd like, I'll give you the floor to do that. By raise of hand, who is interested here? Lama, perfect. So we'll have Lama as a participant. Lama, can you please open your mic and your video, your camera? Lama, can you hear me clearly? Muhammad, meanwhile, asked the question in the chat, does this format of pitch also applies in our video? I'm not sure what the team at iPark told you. Maybe Ali was the one who's contacting everyone. Did he mention a specific format for the pitch? Did he mention any time for you to pitch, or he just left it open? Muhammad, I asked the question. I'm not sure if you were able to hear me. I'm gonna type 3-minute pitch with prototype demonstration. Exactly. So basically, the format of the 3-minute pitch is what I've explained during this presentation. The slides that I mentioned in this presentation are the ones that you should be mentioning while doing the pitch. As for the elevator pitch, because we're very short of time now, we only have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to teach you how to do a 30-second pitch. Now we're going to do this exercise, and I think Lama will be doing it. So basically, you start by saying what the name of your company is, what is the problem that you're solving and you're offering, who your target audience is, what makes you unique, the competitive edge, what's the plan to achieve your objectives, and what are you asking for. You should be able to write a paragraph and say that in 30-second maximum. Okay, this is how you get the attention of the person who are listening. I think Lama just joined the meeting once again, so I'm gonna just repeat that. Lama, can you hear me? Okay, so Lama is leaving and entering the meeting room, probably with an internet connectivity issue. So basically, not sure, maybe we wait a minute before we close it, we call this meeting to close. So back to your question, Muhammad, it's a 3-minute pitch with prototype demonstration, which means you go through every slide that I mentioned, you prepare them, and maybe you shoot yourself through PowerPoint recording with voiceover or with a PowerPoint presentation behind you while you're standing and go through the pitch. You prepare the slides, you do the recording of yourself, and by the end of the video, once you have you said everything, you could show them additionally how the prototype functions. If you have a code, you could also add a section at the end with how the software runs. Okay. Also for the prototype, I'm not sure if it's a low fidelity prototype, which is a very early prototype, or they ask you for an actual software that is functioning. So it depends on what the requirements are. Okay. So low fidelity. Okay, very great. So low fidelity means that the prototype isn't necessarily functioning, but we have a clear way on how everything is functioning. Thanks, Ryan, for the amazing feedback. If you want to reach out to me, please feel free to, there's my email. You can send me all of your questions and your queries. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And good luck, everyone, for the hackathon. I think Lama is not in the meeting room anymore. So cheers, everyone, and best of luck. See you on competition day. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rida. Thank you, Rida. It was a pleasure.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.